what to write about. Trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist. Am I worth anything or just a scout? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
That was great sounds of Watts with Outside on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Preston, and my partner in crime, Long Island Rays, Elm City, Maine, Mr. EZ BlueZ is in the building. And with us for volume 5 of 3 Nerds Venting, the extraordinary, the intelligent, the powerful Professor is with us on WNHH LP 103.5. FM New Haven, as I say it again and again and again and again and again. Volume 5, let's go. 3 Nerds Venting. The last episode, Easy was getting to great franchises that should or overdue for film, TV, or adaptation. For a film, TV adaptation, I can barely speak. You said Black Lightning.
Yeah, and
break it down a little bit more for the people who didn't.
Well, it's plain and simple. The reason why I say Black Lightning is because it did not get the proper run that it needed to. You know, we didn't see it reach out to Static Shock. We didn't see, you know, the ways to really highlight. And let's be honest, you know, as a TV show, and it was really covering issues and really being in the comic itself was really being relevant to the times itself. You know, you need that on television. You need that story to be told. Like, how is this superhero dealing with the cops being massively racist and ridiculous?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is a superhero dealing with that. Like, you know, this isn't just, you know, you. This is someone who can has the power to you know, electrocute them, but he holds back. You know, because he understands that there's a bigger fight to be fought there. And then, like I said, I think the introduction of Static Shock, you know, we could have seen that show go probably longer than The Flash did, and probably longer than Arrow did. I don't 100% know. I know the show kind of fell apart in like the 3rd season. I just don't know why, because it just seemed to me like the answer to everything instead of a question.
True. Yeah. That's true. Before I go with my pick, Professor, I want to hear yours. Little Bill smoking on his face.
I think you might want to come back to me.
Come back to you? Okay.
Come back to me.
I'm with I got okay. All right,
yeah, go ahead.
What do you got? We'll come back to you. But I agree with Easy for Static Shock. I think it should have been a movie instead of a cartoon series, because it definitely knocked it out the park. If they would have done this before Black Panther, it would have been definitely a big one. It was definitely ready for that time. So I think Static Shock is definitely overdue from a film adaptation, which I agree, which definitely should happen. I think as far as that, I'm gonna go probably a little bit way back. You guys will know what I'm talking about. It's the old school books. It's based off a wrestling tag team, the Hardy Boys. I think if they recreated that into like a TV series, like a live action TV series, and done right, if the writing is well and they get the right actors for it, that will be a knockout the park. Just the old school show Hardy Boys, just like based on the books. I think that would be really good.
I loved those books when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Growing up, I read all of their books. I loved that. Oh my God, they were amazing.
They just rebooted that, didn't they?
I don't think so. I
don't think so.
On it.
I think they rebooted it.
Nancy
Yeah, but
Drew
I think the same been rebooted twice and became part of the whatchamacallit universe. Riverdale became part of the Riverdale universe. And I believe
I never saw Riverdale. You know,
Riverdale was interesting. It wasn't great. It was interesting.
You know what I mean?
And you know, and it also kind of makes you feel bad being a grown man looking at these high school girls, being like, "Damn," and you're like, "Wait a second, they're high school girls. Ew, I'm a horrible person. I need to go to church. This is bad." You know, yeah. But it's I think they did try to reboot. I think it's on Netflix, not Netflix. I think Hulu. They did try to reboot it, but I definitely think the original Hardy Boys would be great. Any type of police procedural,
Yeah.
you know, it kind of works in that type of aspect of it. And when you have two characters that people are going to automatically have a tie to, that'll work out really good. So yeah, dude, I would totally be down for that.
Oh yeah, definitely done the right way. Forget about it. That's a good 8-year run, 9-year run if it's done right. Professor, all eyes on you.
So there was a character that in DC, and I was never really a big DC fan, but there was this one character that I really, really appreciated. And I thought that he appeared briefly as a member of Justice League Unlimited. This character called The Question.
Oh, okay.
His detective skills, in my opinion, way surpassed Batman's. But the problem with him was he was right. This is the funny part. He was right. He was a little bit more of the conspiracy theorist.
Okay.
But a lot of his theories were accurate. So he always came off as he was crazy, but he wasn't. He was seeing stuff that nobody saw. And Batman even respected him. You know?
Nice.
Batman to an extent, but Batman was like, yeah, well, the question is right, and you know, let's follow what he. But yeah, but he also had this attitude about him where it was like, I know what I saw, I know what's right. I don't care if the Justice League doesn't follow. I'm gonna do what I need to do. And sometimes he'd be off, like nobody knew where he was, nobody could reach him or nothing, like, because he was actively out there doing it while everybody was wondering, let's formulate a plan. No, the Question got the plan already, and it's in motion. So if they did something like that, did a Question movie, that is the one character that I think that DC kind of slept on a little bit as he can be a top tier character again just because of his detective mind.
Right.
He's one of those guys where it's like if that was like a TV show, I'd be tuned in every week easily. Easily. But that's I know it's weird, but that is my pick for a TV or for a movie adaptation. I would love to see a whole movie because it could be dark and gritty.
All right.
And right. So he was Rorschach before Rorschach was Rorschach.
Yeah, Rorschach.
I mean,
gotcha.
You know what I mean? So, oh yeah, The Question, hands down.
I kind of feel the same way about Dr. Fate.
Yeah.
Dr. Fate is to those who don't know, he was to me he was Doctor Strange before Doctor Strange. Like I think the best part about him was he was kind of like a hero and a villain because like the person who wore the helmet of Dr. Fate was just trapped. Like that body was just Dr. Fate. Like you were just stuck like forever. But that person who I don't want to slur words so people get not understanding. Dr. Fate was a spirit. I have to really like break down the analogy. The comics easy, and Professor can help me out with this. But for Dr. Fate was this great character, which I love in DC Comics, and the spirit was trapped into a helmet, and whoever put the helmet on was possessed by this spirit. But it was a flippable coin because once the spirit possessed your body, you were doing good things, like you were helping and saving the world and doing all these good missions. The only problem was you were possessed, you were trapped, you couldn't control yourself. You were just seeing the outside through your body.
And you were subject to whatever the helmet wanted. You couldn't choose if Dr. Fate didn't want to do a certain thing, he didn't want to help with a certain task. He just wouldn't do it. He'd be like, all right, I'm out. And he would leave. He would like leave in the middle of a battle sometimes. I've seen that. And that was the one thing with him, because you're right. You couldn't really call him a hero. I think that he did more things that would prevent real evil from entering the world by way of magic or mysticism.
Completely agree. Completely agree with you.
But Dr. Fate didn't care about
possessing.
He's like, oh well, thank you. I got a host. Thank you.
Word, I got a host. Gotta go.
Yeah.
You mine now.
That? Yeah, did you see that episode? And it was an amazing episode. That episode where the Zatara put on the helmet.
Yeah.
And her dad was like, look, take me.
Yeah,
take me.
Don't take my daughter.
I'd rather you take me. Right. Don't take my daughter. Take me. And he became, and it was messed up because he was such a powerful magician, and and his daughter, is powerful too, but he was such a powerful magician and such a great ally to the Justice League. Like when they really, really needed in a pinch, some magic stuff was happening. They were dealing with like Cersei or one of the gods or whatever. Zatanna was the guy you go to. And then Zatara now picks up the mantle. But once he got on that Dr. Fate, they really lost some serious help. And I know the exchange is Dr. Fate is super powerful.
Right.
And he could, he Trigun, that demon from, and he was dangerous, and he was even afraid of Dr. Fate.
Right.
So yeah, but I didn't think the trade-off was very fair.
Right.
Like I said, Dr. Fate could decide in a minute, I don't want anything to do with that. Good luck with that, guys.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
I'll see you later.
My biggest disappointment with that character, just like, so we just put my final stamp on it. When I saw Black Adam, I loved Pierce Brosnan as him. I didn't like the fact of the writing of him. I hated the writing that they did.
Right.
But I felt they chose the right actor. The casting was on point.
The casting was perfect.
So that grind my gears a little bit because like who they chose to be him, perfect. But just the writing they gave him and the direction of that character, not good, because he took off the helmet. Dr. Fate never takes off the helmet, and it's just like you had a good one, but you messed it up.
I think the entire casting in that movie could have been a bit. I know this is gonna sound crazy because people see The Rock, but even The Rock, I think Mark Strong could have played that role of Black Adam. I know he was Sinestro, but he could have played that role of Black Adam and gave it a little bit more. Gave that character a little bit more, a little bit more respect. All you saw was The Rock cosplaying.
Right.
Real
and that's the thing too, because apparently now with The Rock and his success, there's certain things in his contract, that you have to bring into the movie, and that can do more damage to a movie than can help. Like there shouldn't be I can't lose a fight in a movie. Nah, bro.
No. I would have dropped him in there.
Yeah.
I would have dropped him.
I'd have been like, guess what? You lost the fight over the contract because you no longer have a job.
Yeah, I would have dropped him right in there. Yeah.
Yep. I just, like I said, that's always been my issue with like certain castings.
Right.
The celebrity being more important than the actual character. And that was one of those cases because you're right. Pierce Brosnan was brilliant. Dr. Fate.
Yeah.
I could see an entire movie with him.
Yeah, of course.
And hey, and I know this is gonna sound crazy. Have him play Zatanna. And getting the helmet.
Yeah.
I would love that. That would be perfect.
No, and even again, the casting is what the casting is, and what people can bring to it. But P, you brought it up, I believe, one of the shows before. So celebrity over good cast.
I was just about to get to that transition. Yeah,
should not be Mr. Freeze. You know what I'm saying?
Mr. Freeze is scrawny, skinny, short, doesn't fit Arnold Schwarzenegger's build.
At all.
Mr. Freeze looks like he should be part of, the Big Bang Theory. He shouldn't be the explosion. You know what I mean?
I think. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All
right. I was gonna. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, we're playing.
You go.
Playing tag.
Hopscotch
right now. But I just felt a couple good replacements or candidates just for that movie back then in that era of the 1990s, early 1990s. Ben Kingsley would have been good. Stanley Tucci would have been good as Mr. Freeze. Those would have been like really good picks for that. Shoot. Heck, he has range. Little comedic, but he has range. I can see even like a Steve Martin playing Mr. Freeze.
Oh, that would have been you know what that would have did for him?
Yeah, that would have been really good for him. Like dramatic wise.
Yes.
Dramatic, that would have been really good.
That would have been perfect for him because we would have now saw his range.
Yeah. Right.
We would have saw, because let me tell you something, Steve Martin is a great actor.
Yeah, Father of the Bride.
Besides being funny, he's a great actor.
Great actor.
But I think that would have, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Sir, I wish you could have cast that because that would have been awesome. That would have been brilliant. That would have been brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Holy moly.
That's just that's my last stamp. So you can go ahead. I know we were fighting for the microphone, but go right ahead, Professor.
No, you kind of touch on what I was gonna say. That's exactly it. That's exactly. So again, for certain roles, sometimes you don't need the celebrity.
Right.
No.
You really don't need the celebrity to do it. Because you got like great characters. Like I know he's young, but Tom Holland pulled off Spider-Man.
Oh yeah,
perfectly.
As a perfect Spider-Man.
And Peter Parker.
Spider-Man with a Queen's accent, everything. He embodied what that character was. And
agreed.
I can't honestly see, and let me tell you something. When Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield showed up in that last Spider-Man movie, I flipped out like everybody else did.
Oh, of course.
That was great to see them. But really watching the struggle with Tom Holland throughout this whole thing, that made me really, really appreciate his acting, because he was fun. He was fun from the first movie, but then you saw the depth of his character when Aunt May died and he was going through what he was going through and stuff. And at the very end, when everybody forgot that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, and the transition into the traditional Spider-Man with the new suit. But I'm looking forward to what they do next with that. I want to see what they're going to do next. So, but yeah, the casting doesn't necessarily have to be a big name anymore. If that person can embody that character perfectly, that's what you need. That's really, really what you need. They got lucky with Robert Downey Jr. They got lucky with Chris Evans, because they were able to transition into those characters.
Yeah, but did they get lucky with Robert Downey Jr. or did Robert Downey Jr. just play Robert Downey Jr.?
That's who he is. He's playing Robert Downey Jr.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't think they got lucky. I think they just were like, this is the perfect casting. You know,
the funny part is
a rich billionaire who doesn't care.
Right. The funny part is, yes, he's playing himself as Tony Stark, but because the character and his life kind of parallels a bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
It was easy. So the casting was spot on with that.
Right.
The casting was really, really spot on. But yeah, so it really, I don't know. I really, really, I was on the fence in the first Thor movie only because he looked like Thor.
He did.
But then by the third movie, by like Ragnarok, and as much as I like the director, what's his name, the funny
Taika Waititi?
Taika Waititi. As much as I appreciated what they were doing with that movie, that fourth movie, Love and Thunder, was a bomb to me, only because you don't introduce a powerful character like Gore the God Butcher and have that movie be funny. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah.
You ruined the power of that character. Everything about the movie, you know, the introduction of Omniscient City and all that stuff was amazing. You got to see a lot of but you don't wreck Gore the God Butcher. You don't mess with that character, and they tainted that character, making the whole story funny, because one minute we're laughing and the next minute it's like, oh my God.
I think they're doing that because it's sold. Because I think that was the highest, that was the most money a solo Thor movie made, was Ragnarok. Right. It made more money than the second and the first one. And in my opinion, within that trilogy, that third one was the best out the three.
Absolutely.
In my opinion. And
the funny thing is,
what worked. Yeah.
Who did the second one? Did Kevin Branagh do the second one? I think he did the
Kenneth
second one, right?
Branagh did the second.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He dropped the ball because he had a great opportunity with Malekith. He had a great opportunity. If anybody that's read the comic books and the Walt Simonson run with that character Malekith, he had a great opportunity with that character, and he dropped the ball. Malekith is way more menacing than he portrayed him in that movie. Curse, his henchman, way more menacing.
Actually, it wasn't Kenneth. Kenneth did the first one. Alan Taylor was
Okay.
Alan
the
Taylor.
second
Okay.
one. What was the
Yeah,
second?
Alan Taylor, you dropped the ball, buddy. You dropped the ball. But
Yeah.
and I think that that's kind of been my thing because I am a super Marvel blurred.
Of course.
Because I've read the source material and stuff, and I respect and I appreciate what they do with the movies, and I'm thankful that they're on.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's okay, in my opinion, to stick to some of the source material.
Right.
Those stories worked for a reason.
Well, there was a time they were doing it. Well, they changed their direction now, where they were getting people who haven't read source material just to
Yeah.
write the films, and
Yeah, they're doing better. They're doing way
they're doing
better.
better right now. So they're
Way
listening
better.
to their fan base more, which is
Right.
really good.
Way better.
Yeah.
It's just, like I said, I think again, celebrity doesn't have to trump the characters in the story.
And I'm
You know what I
trumping
mean?
the tag WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Go ahead, Professor.
Yeah, that's kind of been my thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I don't want to monopolize because I can't wait to the next part when we talk.
Oh,
about
no.
this.
We're not
I'm
monopolizing
excited.
one bit. We're actually transitioning to the part where we're talking about just people portraying characters, and we're actually are transitioning to what we're talking about now is just a race swapping when it comes to just original characters, just our feelings of it. It can be done right, it can be done horrible, but it's definitely a seesaw.
But I think the professor actually kind of coined it the best way. It really depends on who you have to play that person,
Yeah,
and who you have to write for that person.
it's true.
That's playing it. Because like me, I love the fact that Samuel L. Jackson is,
Nick Fury, same.
Nick Fury. I love Samuel L. Jackson. You know what I'm saying? That dude can do no wrong. I have seen every one of his movies, even the bad ones. And if you tell me they're bad, we're gonna fight because it's Samuel L. Jackson. You know what I'm saying? I have been there since Coming to America, when he was there with his shotgun trying to rob a McDowell's. I'm gonna forever be with Samuel L. Jackson.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But there is a lot to be
right.
said for taking the character and it's not the Little Mermaid I grew up with.
Right.
That's ridiculous because at the end of the day, like her, for example, again, this comes outside of our normal aspect. So I'll talk about the controversy with Little Mermaid. The whole movie was about the girl's voice, and the girl that they got to sing for the Little Mermaid was amazing. So she was definitely the right actress for that aspect, especially since the entire movie revolves around how incredible her voice is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
it's like the character didn't have anything to do with race.
Right.
At the end of the day.
Exactly.
It was a mermaid. But in my opinion, something that was done wrong was Tilda Swinton as the ancient one in Doctor Strange.
He was a Tibetan man. I don't understand why they did that. I was furious. That was
a wrong casting choice.
It was a wrong casting. Agreed wholeheartedly.
That's something I felt shouldn't have happened. One thing I felt that was done right was A-Train in The Boys. He was originally white, but the way that they brought him to the screen and presented him to the mainstream audience was a great direction and a good way how they brought him into it. Right. They switched some stuff around. I am a firm believer of some stuff in the comics cannot transition into film for a mainstream or a bigger audience to understand the product. You can still respect the product. You can still give people good material to see, but I feel some stuff cannot be brought into film. I understand some changes when it comes to diversity, but I felt A-Train was done right. And I felt Tilda Swinton was done wrong because the whole thing based on a Tibet man giving people telling people his culture and his views and everything and teaching their ways, that to me was done wrong.
I agree. I agree.
So that's just my feeling of it. I feel it can get done. Do I feel we can have like a black Batman or a Puerto Rican Batman? Yes. Done right? Absolutely.
What's funny?
But we have them though. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, they're in the movie. They're in the comics. Yeah,
they're in the comics. So just go with that character being in the comics. Like I don't need I don't need Bruce Wayne when we already have, I forgot his name.
You have Terry McGinnis, and then you
Terry
have
McGinnis, you
then you
know.
have Lucius Fox's son. I forgot his first
Right.
name, but Lucius Fox's son is the new was
Yeah,
Batman for a little while.
he's a Batman character.
Yeah,
Right.
That's right.
yeah. So
Mhm.
one of the characters, and I was a little frustrated where
Mhm.
people were like talking junk about it. And as much as I talk junk about the Black Adam movie, Aldous Hodge as Hawkman.
Mm-hmm.
Hawkman is an Egyptian character, right?
Yep.
Egyptians were black. Let's
They
be
were.
real.
Yeah.
I didn't see a problem with it. But why does the world have a problem with it? If we're being honest, you remember how dark skinned Hawkman was in Super Friends? He wasn't like he wasn't fair. He wasn't fair. Come on, let's keep it real. We didn't want to say anything. We didn't want to, but let's just say it. Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
Get out of here with that. But it's like if it's done appropriately,
Right.
then it's acceptable. It's okay.
Mhm.
If it's done accurately, like with the case of Hawkman, right, it don't have to be a problem.
Right.
It don't have to be a problem. But there was no reason why Tilda Swinton should have been the ancient one.
No.
Right.
I when I saw that, I was like, she gonna wreck this character. She
But
gonna
see,
wreck.
here's the thing. It created controversy, and controversy created cash.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There was a lot because people are like, we're still talking about that film, that character today because it wasn't. We might not be talking about it for the right reasons.
Yeah,
but
I was gonna get
no
there.
press.
I was gonna get
but
there.
no press is bad press.
That's
No
accurate.
press is bad press.
I was gonna get
you
there.
know, and at the end of the day, like, look, I talk about it with Aerosmith all the time. The only reason why Aerosmith wound up becoming a hit record band is because they stunk live. And they got one review says the worst thing that I've ever seen in my entire life was Aerosmith. And the next week, everyone wanted to go see the worst band in the history of the world.
Wow.
So
I didn't
bad
know
press
that.
can get you just as far as good press, if not further.
I'm not.
That's true.
I get your point of view, but I felt a lot of stuff could have been avoided with Tilda Swinton as the Asian one. I felt a lot of stuff could have been avoided. I don't mind Chiwetel Ejiofor as Mordo. I thought he did a great job. I thought he knocked out the park. I really did.
He did a great job.
Yeah.
But my thing is, if you're gonna, that's the thing, and I almost think that the two are connected. If we're gonna cast him as Baron Mordo,
yeah,
let's cast this British white woman as the ancient one.
Right. But no, here's the other thing. But like, though,
Mordo wasn't tied to a nationality.
Yeah. But didn't he play the same character in freaking? And I could be wrong because this has been a while ago. But didn't he play the same exact character in Firefly?
Who? Chiwetel.
His character was similar.
Okay. It was beyond close to similar. I mean, they had different names. That was about it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He played that very well, by the way.
I know, but I'm saying anytime you can play that character twice and it can be, and you know, two different people playing this, you know, let's be real, that was phenomenal.
Right.
But
I'll take that.
to me, it was the same exact character, and it needed to be because it was a phenomenal character. I can't wait to see what's next with that character. I hope they flush that character out a little bit more. I hope he appears in some more different things, you know, because his character is that good. But you know, to me, a bunch of the Marvel execs like watched Firefly and was like, "That's him."
Yep.
We're going this way.
I can see that. It's funny because they have this great opportunity coming with the Midnight Suns, right? They have this great opportunity with the Midnight Suns, with the Ghost Rider. They already introduced Werewolf by Night and Man Thing. Man Thing? Oh my goodness. So they already introduced those great characters, plus Elsa Bloodstone. They fill it out because you got Blade coming, right? And then you got to introduce Ghost Rider at some point. Did you know that Ghost Rider was going to appear in Deadpool?
He was going to appear in Deadpool.
Yeah. So you have these great opportunities. Well, they already introduced the Robbie Reyes version in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is finally canon. But yeah, so you got that character, but now you have this great opportunity with this coming threat of vampires and all. So Lilith. So you have this incredible opportunity here. Baron Mordo because Doctor Strange has already been introduced. Baron Mordo makes the connection with Dormammu like he was supposed to, because remember he was in the comic books, he was a henchman of Dormammu.
He was.
But
He
you
was.
have that threat coming to you. You can use that character again. Absolutely.
Yeah,
He was a
absolutely,
great
yeah.
character.
Hands down.
In Multiverse of Madness, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Mordo, he was dope. So
Yeah.
I hope they bring him back for another movie. I would love to see it.
Absolutely. I feel the Midnight Sun should happen after Secret Wars, because I think that's huge potential to do maybe like a little dark saga, like afterwards, have it like stretched out. You know, I could be wrong.
And I think it should happen before. And I'm gonna tell you why.
All right.
You can't leave the mysticism stuff alone because you've already introduced it. And Agatha, all of Covenant Chaos or whatever it's called, that is not going to be enough.
Right.
That's not going to be enough.
How do you feel about that
They
series?
need a little bit more. I'm excited about it only because of her connection to the Fantastic Four.
Right.
Remember she was because their son was so powerful, they needed somebody to kind of keep him reeled in. So they hired her as the nanny. So I think that because Franklin Richards is such a powerful character on a multiversal scale, keeping this whole mysticism stuff and some of the supernatural stuff, some of that stuff will work for the MCU. It'll absolutely work for the MCU, but you can't leave it alone too long. You can't leave it alone, because if you leave it alone, people will be like, all right, that was cool, but what else? You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's why the WandaVision series worked so well, because it was something fresh and something new. We saw it work. Werewolf by Night worked. Moon Knight worked.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you have all the pieces put together, and I can see that being just as powerful and amazing as any of the Avengers movies.
Right.
Easily.
Okay.
So when we segue to the other thing, I'm a little bit excited about it, but when we get to
let's segue to it right now.
Oh no! Yes.
Since you brought it up, I am gonna bring Agatha up again, but you do make a good point with Agatha. Next we're gonna talk about overused or overrated, underrated, waste of time when it comes to just superhero properties. But if you have any picks outside of the comic book superhero realm era, you can do that as well too. That is wide open. You know, I'm giving variety right here, so it's all up to you. Professor, do you want to go first or do you want to go last? It's your pick since you've been the most excited about this.
I want to go last.
You want to go last? Okay.
All right.
You want to go last? Easy.
I got you.
Go ahead.
I'll start it off. Honestly, the most, for me, overused or aspect, and it's a little controversial.
Okay.
It's a little not massively controversial, but a little controversial. And now I have to remember my thought here. If I never see another Superman movie again, I'll be the happiest man in the history of whatever. It's done. It's over.
Really?
The story's been told. It's been told 1.5 million different ways. You know, I know about Superman's kids. I know that one of his kids is bisexual. I know the whole thing, and it's fantastic. I love to know all of that kind of stuff. But the last thing I ever want to see is another. It came from outer space and crashed into a farm, and I've seen it. I'm done. I'm over it. I'm over. You have beaten that horse, that dead horse, for way too long, and you just maybe need to stop. That's me.
Now, is it overrated or is it a waste of time? Just the way you're presenting it.
I think if the new movie and all that is a waste of time.
The new movie that's coming out next year is
a waste of time because I'm done. I'm already done. Like it's an oversaturated franchise.
All right, I'm on the fence about that.
Okay.
I think from what you're telling me, I think the origin story is overrated, but just the amount of villains and stuff, and amount of stories of Superman that we haven't saw or seen, just adapted with live action, just through a movie aspect done the right way. I mean, I would love to see a right Superman versus Metallo live action on screen done the right way, going at it. I mean, we can step away from Luthor. I mean, we've seen
Right.
Superman and Lex go at it numerous times. And I'd love to see Superman and Bizarro fight just one time. I'd love to see
Okay.
Lobo on the big
Okay.
screen with his chain whip going against Superman and fighting him. I mean, there's so many stories that are
But
untold
for
with
me, those
that
are all
character.
side stories, though. Those
Those,
can be stories that be told in the peripheral of another, like an actual good Flash movie. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Or so I don't need it to be a Superman movie. I need Superman can show up as a
right.
supporting character and have this kind of stuff knocked out of the park this way to make those type of things happen. But another Superman movie, I'm done. I'm just done.
I think we've been seeing the same story, but Superman has
Yeah.
numerous stories,
Yeah. No,
numerous. But
you're not wrong.
I get your point of view. You're
Yeah.
not wrong, but I get your point
Yeah.
of view. I really do. But go ahead. Underrated, waste of time.
I think underrated. I'm going to go back to Black Lightning. I think that was by
Okay.
far one of the most underrated things, and I think they should really pump as much money, and they should find the exact same cast, and they should work with the exact same. Because the dude that they got to play Black Lightning, I mean, he looked just enough like he was part of Parliament in the Funkadelics that like you loved every aspect of it, but like also you took him seriously. You know what I'm saying? Like, is this man about to drop the best bass line in the history of the world, or is this man about to blow me up? You know what I'm saying? So I think Black Lightning is massively underrated. And then what was the other one?
Waste of time.
Yeah, so underrated, overrated, waste of time.
Underrated, overrated, waste of time. I think right now, waste of time wise was the G.I. Joe movies, and I love G.I. Joe.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I can't say
I loved G.I. Joe.
That's
I loved the Snake Eyes story that they told in the second G.I. Joe, the Snake Eyes Storm Shadow story. That's
Okay.
one of my favorite
I'm with that.
stories in all of G.I. Joe lore. I love that story, and I think they did that story right. But the rest of the movie was just a ginormous piece of garbage. Just hot, sweaty garbage, like just not good. And the first one wasn't great. It was good, but it wasn't great. So I really think that it was a waste of time for them to do. I hope that they will consider maybe doing more of an animated aspect of it moving forward. If not, if you're going to do a live action again, then maybe you need to be a little bit more in real time, talk about some real issues going on here, and then have Cobra come up through that. I think that would be a dope
That
idea.
would work.
Yeah, that's a dope idea.
Well, they teased it. Remember, they teased it at the end of that Transformers movie. So I was interested then. I was like, all right, well, that Transformers movie was amazing to me. Better
For what it
than the
was, I
other
liked
ones.
it. For what it was, I liked that.
For what it was, right?
What it was, I do like
I
it.
was
Yeah.
I was like, well, maybe they'll now fix the G.I. Joe. Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. For me, it pains me to say this because this is my favorite superhero of all time. I'm gonna put this in the overrated category, and it's not. It's a certain company's fault. I go with Spider-Man as overrated.
Okay.
And I gotta go with Sony digging my boys' stuff down the well and giving us the Madam Webs and the Craven, which I'm not looking forward to, and really hurting my boy. And telling us that we're gonna get a third Spider-Verse movie this year, but didn't. To me, that kind of kills me, because we could have got a lot of great stories. We could have got a lot of great stuff that Marvel had in store for my boy. Right. But due with contracts and just distribution rights and stuff of that nature, they're just putting out a whole bunch of side stories just to keep this contract, and it's really diluting the great stuff that we could see. So I'm definitely putting Spider-Man up there. I love Spider-Man. That's my favorite hero. I give it like number one for my heroes personally.
Yeah, I could totally see that because that's another one that's oversaturated.
Yeah.
You know, there's 19 Spider-Man cartoons. You know what I'm saying? Then you know the last Spider-Man and Friends one that they did was dope. You know, when they kind of working with Shield and all that kind of stuff. Like it was definitely interesting. You know, but it's also stuff that I've seen or I've read 1.5 million times, and there's nothing too different about it. You know, I liked that they were, you know, Agent Venom. I thought was really cool.
Yeah,
you know, different aspects there, but yeah, I could totally see how it's oversaturated and and in its oversaturation, it's diluted.
And certain stuff they're putting, it's just like forced down our throats, and I don't want that. I really don't want that for that character because to me, that's a superhero. That origin story, the way he came up, the way how he's not rich, how he has to like make his own cost. Like to me, that's relatable when it comes to a superhero. Like he's fighting something he can't control, but using the best out of it. And I just feel Sony's gonna let this ride till they can and just give us a whole bunch of garbage so they can just keep this license. And I understand this license makes a lot of money, but
that's what it's about. It has nothing to do with the fans.
It really does.
Right.
So that's my overrated, unfortunately, and it saddens me to say that. My underrated, Hellboy. I love the Hellboy series. Hellboy
I appreciate that.
Definitely underrated. Bring back Ron Perlman. He can still do it. I don't care. Have him do it till he's 90.
Yep.
I don't care. Bring back Perlman. Bring back Guillermo del Toro for that project, and we can have a banger of a franchise. Hellboy is definitely underrated in my opinion.
The rumor was if Del Toro was going to do the third one,
he was.
The rumor was he was going to introduce the twins, both of the twins, and they had one of them had Hellboy's powers, and the other one had his girlfriend's powers, the fire powers. I would love to have seen that on the big screen. I would love to have seen that. That would have been amazing.
And just the way Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, that movie was so good.
That was fire.
So
good.
So good.
So good.
Seth MacFarlane played, I forgot the character he played, but it was like the little general, but the spirits was kept inside the robot.
Yeah.
That was done so well.
It was brilliant. Brilliant.
Everything about it was brilliant. And don't get me wrong, I like the one with Dave Harper. Dave Harper did an okay job, but it wasn't Ron Perlman.
It wasn't Ron Perlman.
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it.
It's
I
not
didn't watch
bad.
It on purpose.
It's not bad. It's not terrible.
Take a look at it. Take a look at it. If you can catch it on streaming and you're not, it's not costing you any money. Take a look at it.
It won't hurt your eyes. I swear to God, it won't hurt your eyes. But
it's not the Flash.
It's not the Flash.
All right.
It's definitely not the Flash, but nothing like Ron Perlman with the makeup. And because to me, it just has Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool and RDJ is Iron Man. Ron Perlman is Hellboy, and I would love to see that come back, and then it can make a lot of money if they just do it right again. Waste of time. It ran its course. I'm gonna say Fast and Furious. It ran its course.
It did.
It stopped probably like at 7, maybe 6. But it ran its course. You did what you had to do. But stop.
The fact that one of your main
I was done after the third one. We were being honest.
Yeah.
I was done.
Yeah, the third one was absolute hot garbage. And, you know, I love the fact that it showed in drifting and different stuff like that. That was kind of cool. And I'm a big Bow Wow fan, and I could watch Bow Wow do anything. I loved him in The Masked Singer. You know what I'm saying? But you know, at the end of the day, the fact
I never hear anybody say that. I'm sorry.
That's fine. I say a lot of things.
Yeah.
I respect you. I respect you so much. Wow.
You know, but see, that's the fact that one of the main people in your franchise has passed away and you're continuing the franchise is a problem.
It is a problem. And it's a problem that I should have said the tag a little bit earlier. I got to put this in the editing. WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Go ahead, easy.
No, you know, when he passes, you know, when that dude passed away, Paul Walker, that's probably when we should have stopped the movies. You
The
know,
acting,
it was
the
a-
acting in
yeah,
the movie died with him. Let's be
yeah,
honest. The acting died when he
Yeah.
died. That's
yeah, but this yes and no, because I gotta say, Jason Momoa in that last one is
Oh, it was
probably some
good.
of the
It was
best
good. I'm not gonna
acting
lie.
I've
That
ever
was
seen in
good.
my entire life. I both loved and hated Jason Momoa at the same time, and it was just incredible to
Yeah, it was
see.
good.
When he was
I didn't see it.
painting oh, you didn't see it? You got
No.
to see it just for the Jason Momoa.
Matter of
Take your
fact,
time
just
to-
YouTube the Jason
yeah,
Momoa scenes. Just
just
save yourself
YouTube
like
the
a
Jason
good
Momoa scene.
30 to 40 minutes. Just YouTube the Jason Momoa scenes. You'll
Yeah.
be
Okay.
fine. But
Yeah,
just with Vin Diesel
he
saying
was
family
fantastic.
all the time and
Yeah.
Uh,
It's like, oh, family, and
Yeah.
Jason Momoa.
I'm with you.
But Jason Momoa was like painting the nails of dead people.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying, and like asking them questions and interviewing them. Yeah,
I gotta see it then. Okay, because I like him. I always liked
yeah.
him.
No, he was phenomenal. He was phenomenal, and also I gotta love the fact that Jason Momoa has such an incredible personality that he can be and in Peacemaker
Easy.
and oh yeah, sorry, my bad.
Continue.
Edit. Yeah, and he like plays it off, and he lets that happen. Where we talked about it earlier, The Rock can't lose a fight, in his movie.
Mhm.
So Jason Momoa can be called a fish defiler.
Mm-hmm.
Professor, your picks.
All right, I'm gonna go in reverse. I'm gonna do the waste of time first.
Okay.
Okay.
Superman and all of his clones.
Ooh.
Listen. Hear me out.
I'm hearing you out. I'm hearing you out.
So back in the 70s, right? Stan Lee was like, okay, DC, I got something for you. I'm gonna make a better Justice League, right? And they introduced the Squadron Sinister, right?
Yeah.
Hyperion is their Superman.
Yeah.
Same character from outer space, came to Earth, yada yada yada, boom, boom, boom. And he's been a plague. He's been a good guy for a while. But recently he's like an anti-hero. Anyway, but now he's back. But he's Superman, just with a different color outfit. Then you have Gladiator, Kalark from the Shi'ar Empire, right? Whose weakness is ridiculous. You don't believe he can do something. You don't believe in him, and he gets weak. What is that? Anyway, then you have the Sentry, Robert Reynolds, right? Whose alter ego is this thing called the Void, right?
Right.
That is monumental, like almost as dangerous as the Phoenix Force, right? The Hulk is afraid of the Sentry because of the Void. That's how, if that's any indication of how powerful this thing is, right? And then Blue Marble, who I love. We'll talk about him shortly because he's actually my underrated character.
Okay.
But you have I'm done with Superman. I'm done. I don't want to see another Superman. I don't want to. When they tried to mix it up a little bit back in the day, they made Superman red and blue. They split his personality. He was red and he was electric and blue. He was red, and I'm like, okay, you that bored with Superman? Then they change his uniform, and then they change it back. Then they change it back, and then they have like multi. So I'm done with Superman and anything that even looks like Superman. I'm done with it. Although the new suit for the James Gunn Superman, that was kind of
good.
I'm with that. I'm kind of with that. So I'm hopefully.
I'm hoping James Gunn changes minds, but go ahead. I respect your decision.
Bad character choice of Guy Gardner. As much as I love Nathan Fillion is Hal Jordan. I'm sorry. Anyway, but yeah, I'm done with Superman. Overrated, Batman.
Oh,
Batman.
okay.
And I'm gonna tell you why. So you mean to tell me, with enough time, with enough planning, he could literally take out anybody? Anybody. There's like this amalgam thing where he has like a contingency plan for the Avengers.
Right.
Like, really? Anybody? Come on, son. I'm done. I'm done with Batman. We already had that conversation where who I thought was the best Batman and all that. And I loved the character growing up and all that. But how many Batman do you need? How many movies do you need with a new Batman? All right, he's overrated. He's okay. All right. Clearly not the best fighter in the DC universe. He's one of them. Clearly not the best fighter, but I don't know. So yeah.
Nah,
So
you're making good points. You're making good points.
yeah.
You are.
Now,
yeah.
my underrated character, Blue Marvel. So the reason why I find him very underrated, and he definitely needs a movie because he's also my film adaptation person. Blue Marvel needs a movie for several reasons. One, his story is incredible. His story is incredible. They introduced him as a retro character from back in the day, the Century 2, but they introduced him as a retro character, fully clothed, couldn't see his skin, nothing like that. But he saved the world from this character, this antimatter character, right? That was actually one of his friends. So he saved the world. In this battle, because the time frame was JFK was the president at the time. And what happened was when he did this battle with the antimatter man, his uniform got destroyed a little bit. And you can see under his uniform that he was a black man, right?
Yeah.
And JFK and the government asked him to step down as Blue Marvel. They said, we'll fabricate this story that you died, right? And we want you to retire. So he ended up leaving actually the planet. He had this station on the moon where he was able to live and stuff like that. And it had become he was annoyed because they brought him into the office. JFK brought him into the office, gave him a Medal of Honor or something that he gave him, this prestigious award. But then we don't need you as Blue Marvel anymore. And the concern from the government was they didn't want black people to see this hero, and he takes on the black plight. And now black people, their fear was, and this is a crazy fear for them because they really believed it. They believed that he would make black people rise up, and then black people would take over the United States.
Right.
How racist was that?
Oh yeah, that was wow.
And it was, and the funny part was, it was appropriate for that time period because we saw, the civil rights movement happening, and right, so we saw things happening during that time period, and they were so afraid that he would ally himself with Martin Luther King or Malcolm X, either one, and it would be this huge race thing, right? When it's always been that, and so I think that playing that story out in a film and seeing how he eventually came back to help the world as one of the ultimates, and the years that it took, it was like kind of a messed up story, which again could be played out really brilliantly in the story. There was an agent that was sent to, because he was on Earth for a while. There was an agent that was sent to him, and he fell in love with her, and he didn't know she was an agent. He had no idea she was an agent, but she was planted, and they fell in love, and they lived out their days until he found out she was an agent, and that's what prompted him to leave the planet. But I can see that on the big screen. That would be an amazing story. And he eventually came back because there was some serious stuff happening on Earth, and they needed help. It was like during the World War Hulk thing, I believe, and they needed help with the Hulk, and that's when he came down, and it was funny. It was one of the fights. He one shot at the Hulk and uppercutted him, and he went off to the moon from the punch. It was amazing. But he's such a powerhouse. He's one of the smartest men. He's smarter than Reed Richards. The only person that he's not as smart as, and it's close, is Moon Girl, because she's the smartest person in the Marvel universe now. But he's second to her. But he's possible. So Dr. Doom respects him. Reed Richards matter of fact, Reed Richards calls him if he needs help.
Yeah.
Tony Stark calls Adam Brashear, the Blue Marvel, when he needs help.
Right.
So I would love to see that particular story played out. And I think I get why the MCU hasn't picked up on this character yet. What that would mean for them is they would have to actually unleash the real powerhouses. Thor Odinson in the MCU is severely underpowered. Severely underpowered. He's a powerhouse, right? The Hulk, severely underpowered, and he's a threat in the MCU, but severely underpowered. Now is the time, if you're going to be introducing the Sentry in the Thunderbolts movie, right?
Also,
Robert
now is
Reynolds.
the time. I'm gonna give about like 2 more minutes because
Yeah.
like, we just gotta wrap it up. But
Yeah.
volume 6, I'm gonna let you continue because this is really
Okay.
good. This is definitely
Yeah.
really good. So I'm gonna give you a
But-
couple. These last 2 minutes are yours.
Sure.
Mm.
Yeah. So again, I think that the introduction of a character like that, it increases your ability to use those powerhouse characters. You got the Thing coming. You got the Thing coming for the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
You already saw Thanos. So you see powerhouse characters like that. Now let's even the odds a little bit. Let's
Mhm.
have some of the heroes be that powerhouse. If Thor is off world or something like that,
Right.
you got nobody.
Right.
If Captain Marvel's off world, and honestly, they just made her that powerful recently in the comic books.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
so I think that that's the direction that the MCU should be going in. Let's
Right.
introduce some of those real powerhouse characters, those
Agreed.
real deep characters like Adam Bashir, the Blue Marvel.
All right.
Nice.
We're definitely gonna dig into that next time for volume 6 of 3 Nerds Venting. Myself, Preston, Easy BlueZ, and happy to have you with us, the Professor, on WNHH LP 103.5 FM, New Haven.
Wondering what to write about, trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just a scout? I don't know. I don't know.